Hello, everyone. Welcome to League Review. I'm your host, William, and with me today I just have Ryan.
Hello.
Don't know where Brian is. He said he was going to be here, and that was an hour ago, so he's gone. He probably passed out. He had like a 7 a.m. flight this morning back to Dallas. And, yeah, we're going to just move on. Let's see. These were wrong. I didn't finish the predictions actually, but these were all correct. Well, I guess somewhat in a sense that you had a
Yeah.
clutch game and lose. I'll give you them. Oh no, Brian had CLG over Team Liquid. I'm not giving him that. No, no, no.
Not giving you that one.
Nope.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah.
to be fair, I had the game scores. I just had them flipped in the semifinals. That was just the problem.
Yep. I think it was quite crazy. I'm coming back. I was basically in the woods, pretty much, actually, literally, for like 5 days. So didn't have much internet access. Wasn't really paying attention to League. First stunner was, I know this is not NA related, but IG losing to Li Ning. Like what? Like a 3-0 by the way. That's not
Yeah.
even. I'm like
We got a huge meme out of it too. Where
okay.
apparently the ADC for LNG just assumed they were going to lose and already booked a flight out.
Oh, I love that meme. So yeah,
Oh
that
my
that was
god.
unexpected. Next unexpected thing is when I'm driving home Friday to go to we were gonna do an escape. We did an escape room and like blah blah blah. Splice getting wrecked by Rogue in almost record time. Like what happened while the league collapsed while I was gone? Unfortunately, my uppercut esports, they also lost in Brazil, but that was expected. Oh, Kaboom lost to Ents. Ents is in the finals in Brazil. Like, what?
Oh my god, INTZ baby.
No, no. I feel all you Brazilian fans. They barely made playoffs. They look terrible all split, and now they're in the finals again against Flamengo. This is just like, dude, this is just PT or deja vu right now, and PTSD for Brazilian fans. If they upset Flamengo, I can't believe they upset Kaboom. I thought Kaboom was gonna win the whole thing.
No. That's why
Anyway,
it's never over, man.
not.
Oh, by the way, I find it hilarious that the splice thing too. They picked Rogue.
Oh, I know. I mean, it made
Rogue was
sense.
yeah, Rogue was the fifth seed over Vitality.
Mm-hmm.
Vitality lost, but I know y'all get to that. But I think we can definitely say that Rogue would probably beat TSM. But
I think
I
that's
say
fair to
probably
say.
we could probably raise it to about 9 times out of 10 now.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And yeah, so it's been quite crazy. And your very own to before we finish go to NA, Billy's in the final four.
I know.
Your meme is still alive.
I was gonna say, man, like it was a close series. Them and EDG, that was
Well,
super
yeah,
tight.
yeah, I have to. I still have to catch up a ton. I
It's a five. It's a 5 game. It would go to Silver Scrapes.
oof,
It was actually really good. It was
oof.
a really good one to watch. I watched. I actually managed to catch a couple
Surprised
of
me
the
it didn't,
games.
because I don't believe in EUG much at all. So
Oh, EDG look actually like pulled it together. They actually look decent.
that's
But
good.
they got some bangers coming out this weekend.
Oh
You
yeah, I'm
got
super excited.
I know you got SKT trying to complete the full gauntlet, run the full gauntlet versus Griffin in the finals. And then right after that you got Billy beating Fun Plus, and then G2 versus Fnatic all in a row. And then right after that, the next day, RNG versus Top.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a lot of fun games to watch. But
Mm-hmm.
let's talk NA, which is now over for the year, and that's with a Team Liquid
Speaking of
victory.
some fun games that go to 5.
Yeah, yeah. We'll briefly talk semifinals just real quick, and because we weren't here
Yeah.
for that, and then we'll go finals. Also, probably gonna be real quick because like Brian had that 7 a.m. flight, I still had to get up at 7 like early as well, and then I went to work, which was brutal. Like I
It's
was like,
always the worst part when you first come back from vacation.
yeah, I was like, I told work like when I was going on vacation that I'm like, oh, I'll be on vacation or I'll get there at like 10 a.m. because like I had to drop my friend off at the airport, my other friend Lars, at the airport, and then I like Like I was at a hotel yesterday, or today I should say. And like I'm like, oh, it's like downtown Detroit still. Super tired, super pumped about Team Liquid, and then like having the whole vacation before that. So I was like dead at work, and I'm still kind of dead right now, if you can't tell. But let's talk the first game, which was CLG versus Cloud9. Just real quick, do we even need to talk about the third place game? It was really cool for CLG to get the reverse sweep, but I guess we can briefly talk about that as well.
Yeah. I mean, we could definitely talk about that. It actually kind of relates to. I know you and I were talking about this a little bit before the cast started. It actually was oddly, like eerily similar to how the CLG-C9 match went in the semifinals, or at least how it looked like it was going to go.
Yeah.
Because it was very much both games. Like we could almost like knock two birds out with one stone. It was the aggressive, like more early to mid game skirmish, scrappy team, Cloud9 and Clutch, just really taking it to CLG,
hmm
running a train on them with their solo lane
Which kind
picks.
of surprised me because,
Mhm.
well, like Wiggly was quite disappointing in the C9 series and for the
Yeah,
first two games as well in the Clutch Gaming series as well. He stepped it up after that. But like I was like, wow. I mean, you understand he's young. Obviously, it's only his second split, third split in
it's
professional,
technically only. I think it's only his second full split because he
second
started like
full.
the last. Yeah, he started like the last like two or three games in
hmm
summer.
Got it.
But
Yeah.
they dropped yeah because they dropped rain over like in the last like 2 weeks or something like that.
Yep. Yep. And then
Ironically, because now Rainover's a coach for C9.
yep. We saw that yesterday. And it was like, oh, look at that. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Rain
yeah,
over.
he was on stage. He was on stage instead of a Rapid Star. I thought
Mhm.
that was interesting.
Mhm. And but yeah, he you could definitely see some of that inexperience show in the playoffs for sure. I thought, but I think overall, just a brief summary of CLG is that very good year, very good year. Third place finish,
Mhm.
great comeback against Clutch Gaming to go into that one. Like, and Clutch Gaming was no joke. I was very happy when I had watched the dive, and they had me doubting. If you go back to our podcast, I was really worried about Clutch Gaming and like the differences that they play. They play that up tempo style. CLG I think plays a much slower style, which is kind. I say Team Liquid plays a slower. They play a more team fight style, I should say, because Team Liquid's still the fastest team in the league, but they don't play that hyper aggressive early game. They kind of play keep everything balanced early and then smash mid and late with your lane advantage.
Mhm.
And but that's CLG or Clutch Gaming is super aggressive, so I thought that little bit of a mismatch could hurt them. I didn't think two games. I did not think that would happen, but I did give Clutch Gaming one game. And when I watched the dive, I'm like, they're all saying 3-0 smash, easy, easy. Like I'm like, I don't know about this guy. Like I'm like starting to get worried. Like I'm like, am I
Yeah.
wrong? Like am I wrong to worry here?
I mean, to be fair, the way that series started in that game one,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you'd be remiss to you would be remiss to say, "Oh man, this is gonna be bad."
Oh
But
man, they
to be
came.
fair, I felt like I said it, like I was saying before the cast started. It felt like a lot of the early games in almost every set was one team got a lot of comfort picks, got a
Mm-hmm.
lot, pretty much exactly what they wanted, even in the finals with C9 versus TL.
Yep.
It felt like they gave up a lot of comfort, went over to one team, and that team just sort of just ran with it, and they just completely smashed. Like it was like that in the C9 game where they got Gragas Kiana, and then like bot lane just got Ezreal, Licorice got Aatrox, and they just kind of smacked CLG, and like they could never get anything going. They only had like 2 kills, and C9 just completely destroyed them in like 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So but then it was the same thing with like the Clutch series where they look Hooney's got Gangplank and Demonte is gonna kill them on Renekton and Lyra got Skarner and it is just a bad time. Like even Vulcan even got the counter pick Leona into the Rakan.
I love
Like
that
it was
pick.
just a good.
Love that pick.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's good. He's a very good Leona too. Like
Mm-hmm.
you even saw it in the TL series, like the freaking like the tactical nuke orbital laser just picking up kills.
Yep. I'm just my only confusion with the pick is I don't know if he does this every game, but at least I saw one game live. He started E first on
Hmm.
Leona, which like I don't know. I have 300k mastery on Leona, over 300k. I don't think I've ever. I mean, I guess there's been like maybe a time or two I start E first, but I'm usually a Q first. Like, did something
I
change? I
can never,
haven't played Leon in a while, but
I can never remember which one is her E. Is the E the Zenith blade?
yes,
The
yes,
one that does the root?
yes.
I think.
Unless you're invading, like even on sometimes on invades, I'll take Q and just flash because it's more reliable. Because
Yeah.
then you don't get question mark ping by
Especially
teams for
into the
missing it.
recon match. Yeah, the recon matchup too. You would probably want to start the stun first
That's
because
what it was.
it
That's
yeah
what I was most confused is because it was Rakan. It was facing Rakan and Ezreal, and I'm just like,
yeah.
why take E?
I,
But that was such a minor thing. It wasn't. I
hmm.
just noticed
I
it.
think yeah. My guess is like maybe poke like a little bit, or maybe like you're not worried about like maybe you're just trying to go for the quick push to like stack your passive up on the minions or something,
Maybe.
just to try to hard push for a level 2 so you have the EQ earlier. Like that's my only guess.
Hmm. Yeah, it was just a tiny thing that I was like,
Yeah.
huh. I wonder like why he did that. I was curious, and I
Eh.
I haven't found anything.
I feel like it worked out no matter
Hmm.
what. I don't think the laning phase is gonna matter too much,
Yeah, yeah.
especially with the way it went consistently for DL and core this in the entirety of the postseason.
Hmm. But yeah, let's for pretty
Yeah.
much Clutch finished the season very strong. I thought. I think as long
Mm.
as one of them, those two teams make it to Worlds, I'm happy. Like I'd love
Yeah.
to see Clutch Gaming go to Worlds just because I like Cody Sun a lot. But I mean, I'm also fine with CLG going to Worlds.
Yep.
Not fine with TSM going to Worlds. By the way, that might
Yeah.
be some TSM hate by me, but like they look terrible.
To be fair, that's actually a really interesting scenario where, I mean, if you kind of go by what you think is expected, you're
Hmm.
almost thinking about, oh well, we might get a rematch of the third place match, another best of 5 between
Yeah,
CLG and CG in the only in the middle of the gauntlet, not even at the like the
yeah,
end or the
yeah.
beginning.
It's in the middle.
And then if one of them wins that, you're guaranteed like either the Clutch rematch versus TSM and like, oh wow, if Clutch beats TSM 2 best of 5s in the same postseason and knocks them out of Worlds, or CLG gets the chance to do that.
Ooh, that'd be
Like
nice
that
for
would be
CLG fans.
yeah, but I mean, there's also a lot of narratives. Like we don't know what FlyQuest is going to be like. Are they are they going to be the Clutch from last summer and they're just going to be dead in the water and Febiven's going to go back to Europe and no one cares, or is it good? Or is it going to be like, are we going to talk like 2015 Cloud9? Like FlyQuest kind of going back to their roots, and they're going to try to look for the complete turnaround and the surprise, like sweep, run the go SKT and run the gauntlet all the way to Worlds.
Hmm.
And then maybe TSM got their shit together now they have some chance to like practice.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
I mean, TSM fans gonna have to hope for something
They do.
at this
They
rate,
do.
and they have plenty of time. They have even more time because they don't have to play. They only have to play one best of 5. They just need one,
That is true.
and
They just need to
they can still
focus
make it.
on. They probably are putting their focus on CLG or Clutch Gaming,
Mhm.
like for this grand. I don't think they're probably focused too much on FlyQuest. I would be shocked if FlyQuest, which is the way they performed in summer, if they were able to take down how strong Clutch Gaming has looked.
Mhm.
But I mean, I guess if you see their spring performance, they have the ability to do it. It's just the way that Santorin has played this entire split. Even Woody now playing instead of JJ, and like Wild Turtle, and just like I don't think Wild Turtle can handle Cody Sun in his form at the moment, and I just think that it all kind of falls apart. I mean, FlyQuest was almost near the bottom of.
Yeah,
Were they the bottom?
I will say this though. Like obviously, FlyQuest has been sitting and watching
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, so they'll have definitely the benefit of being able to watch a Clutch Gaming who have played 14 games in
Yeah,
the post.
that is true.
They've shown a lot, and they've shown that like they were one game away from going to finals over Team Liquid, and they were one game of beating
CLG.
CLG.
Mm-hmm.
But they basically pretty much half choked, like both in like draft phase in both times in
Oh
Game
yeah,
5,
yeah, for
in both
sure.
series, and it was against teams that are like much more control based.
Which is
Much
FlyQuest style.
exactly, and you're talking about like top to bottom. I mean, if you take Hooney off of champions like Gangplank and Rumble, where he has a lot of comfort, and you maybe kind of bait him into taking Karma, because
Don't
apparently
pick
that's
karma.
a
Don't
thing.
pick the victor. Oh my god, I've lost it, and I was why I was
Yeah,
like, are you serious? You're picking Victor right now? Like,
because that's the thing. Like, and Viper can hold his own. Like he definitely has that ability. I think
hmm
Centauran definitely can too. He'll definitely have that more veteran experience over Wiggly. Wiggly does have a lot of playoff games now, and something you could take away from the postseason games is that while it seemed like CLG started slow in a lot of their games, I feel like they did ramp up. Just kind of talking about them and their chances in the finals. Clutch, it felt like they started off really strong and they looked really comfortable when they got their picks, but it felt like they kind of petered out a little bit in some of the
yeah,
series. Like they came out too strong and almost gassed themselves,
yeah,
or
which is
or they got
weird.
or they got a little too cocky, or they got a little, or maybe or just a little too antsy, and then maybe they felt like they were almost like desperate in certain games. And I think that if a team can kind of just slow down and take care of that, they can. I mean, you'll have the battle of the NA mids, Pobelter versus Demonte. Demonte can kind of stake his claim. And then one thing you could say about Cody's son and Vulcan, I feel like Vulcan has been a really good like laning support for Cody, and he's had some clutch like roams and team fight moves. And Cody's just been a really good a really solid like DPS AD carry come mid game fights. But his laning has actually been like just kind of decent. It seems like the Clutch do try to play like a more Cloud9 style where they play more to their solo lanes. Like they'll try to look to get maybe get something for Hooney or maybe get something for Demonte, or they'll have Cody push up a little bit and then have Vulcan roam up for something. But a lot of times, especially like even saw against like the TL game, they would pretty much just sort of lane. They would just sort of lane against DL and Core JJ.
Yeah,
They so and if Wild Turtle and Wadid can just sort of hold that lane and just not fall far behind,
I,
or maybe find a pick.
that's what worries me the most.
Yeah, or they could find a pick to maybe like, hey, Lyra, you have to come bot lane. Like we'll give our top, like we'll make okay, Pobelter, you could try to style on Demonte. Here, Viper, here's Riven, go have fun. We're gonna pick something like a Caitlyn lane for Wild Turtle and see if he can get a pentakill again. Like they can like, and that's the scariest thing is that we've seen a lot of Clutch, and Clutch is surprised a lot, but we've
How
also
much
seen
surprise do
exactly
they have left? Is what you're
it.
saying.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like they've surprised a lot, but they've also lost.
That's true.
They've lost when the pressure was on.
They've lost.
They've both exceeded expectations and then fell right back down to earth. They're
hmm
still the fourth place team, and if FlyQuest can actually use their coaching staff and push it forward, can actually use a lot of the knowledge they've seen, just kind of sitting back, prepping, working. They've had the benefit of not having to show anything,
Yep.
so they can surprise. TSM
hmm
can too, but I mean we've at least seen four games from TSM, and
hmm
it basically took Clutch, ironically, throwing at a Baron, and like Bjergsen just
Yeah.
Bjergsen, like we've seen, God, Akali in the playoffs has just been massive.
Yeah.
Speaking of Bjergsen's
Yeah.
play,
Yeah.
yeah,
We're getting
yeah,
lost in the weeds a bit.
but
We'll be talking about this next week probably as well
yeah,
with the gauntlet.
because there are no LCS games this week.
Yep.
They're not. Yeah,
Never.
first round is not until the 6th, so it's not this Friday, but next Friday.
Yep. And then, so before we go, because after this we'll just probably discuss finals. I just want to
Mhm.
give you a very interesting tidbit. I was just looking through because I was looking at FlyQuest and stuff. So I was looking through the regular
Ooh, I
season.
like interesting tidbits.
Did you know this year Doublelift got zero player of the games?
Really?
Yes. Core JJ got 5, Impact 4, Xmithy 3, and Jensen 2. And that's 14 of the team's 14 wins.
Yeah.
That's,
You know what? You know what? That actually makes a lot of sense. Which is hilarious because I think Double It was third in MVP voting.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like he was like third in MVP voting. So when I just saw that, like I was down here, I'm like, oh wow, Biofrost and Wiggly, like that's 10 of CLG's player of the games. So that's almost like all of them were just those two,
Mhm.
which makes a lot of sense. But I think Power
Also,
V
they're
was
also their MVPs,
yeah.
basically.
Yeah, and then I was just like looking down the list, and I highlighted over Team Liquid, and I saw only 4 members. I'm like, okay, like Core JJ, Impact, Xmithy, and Jensen. I'm like, Okay, that makes sense. Wait, like double lift. Like, what about him? But
I
no.
think that's the thing too, especially in this meta. It's like unless you're like really, really popping off, like if you're just like, oh, you're like we're 2v2 and we're just literally like solo killing you.
Oh.
Like the only time we saw that was in like the Golden Guardians game where they got like I think was it like the Caitlyn Morgana and they played it into Zaya Rakan and they just smacked the living hell out of FBI in
Yeah,
Boogie.
yeah.
Like that was like the one time.
I
That's like maybe, but even then you pretty much have to give that to Core.
I want to even give you a weirder stat. Double F was player of the week in week 6, but he never won a
Ouch.
player of the game.
Yeah.
How does that
To,
work?
to be fair, I think like they. I mean, I don't even know. Like, I don't even know where they're getting like the player of the game information because they never really were like announcing that.
I don't
It,
know.
like they always like they kind of like scrapped it. They never really talked about it again.
Hmm.
I think it's because they freaking. I think they kind of got like that big controversy when um
With
it was like
Jensen
it
and
was like yeah the
yeah,
Jensen got snubbed by MVP because they he beat Bjergsen in votes for MVP, but then
but the
Bjergsen
player of the
like
game.
by like 4 points
Yeah.
because of player of the game votes,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that was when Jensen was like hard smashing.
Let's see. I'm just curious. This is totally off topic.
That's all
But
right.
I'm noticing that Doubleth and 6A were 1 and 2 on
All pro.
All Pro.
Yeah.
Neither of them had a single. They have a combined 0 players of the game.
Yeah.
And Cody's son had 2, and he was third. But
Yeah.
out of I'm just before we go on, one last thing. Who was the ADC with the most players of the game? It
With the
was
most.
it was Cody's son and FBI.
Yeah.
Weird. FBI has just as many is
I was
tied
gonna
for the
say, did he have
most.
one or two?
It
Because I
two.
know he had that one game where he was like popping off on
Callista
Kaisa.
winners or is it
No,
Kaiser
I
or
think it
Callista?
was Kaisa
Yeah.
because I remember he had the super like Chad freaking ultimate
Yeah. Yeah, so
into like 4 people, but he killed a bunch of them, so it was fine.
Apollo had more.
I,
Apollo had
I'm telling you, what game did Apollo do
he
that he
must
got
have
a player of the game
it
for?
must have been one of
You,
their 4 wins.
well, obviously, it's
Yeah.
like unless they gave it to him for like the TSM game where where like Smoothie and Acadia backdoored. Like that was like they just gave it to Apollo because he was like solo killing Bjergsen on
Yeah.
Zaya.
So combined, the top 3 teams, their ADCs got a combined 0 players of the game.
Yeah, I mean that kind of makes sense because I mean look at who you're talking about here. Like you're talking about comparing Cody Sun to Vulcan. Okay, Cody Sun's probably going to be the one that you look at more
Yeah.
often
And
because
then
Vulcan, especially early on, was kind of like really underrated as a support. Whereas then you're looking at okay, Double Lift. Oh, he's a big name. Stix A. Oh yeah, he's big too. He's a champion. Oh, but then who's their support? Oh shit, it's Core JJ, the world champion.
and
He was
Biofrost. Yep.
he was MVP last split. He was only here for one split since we're not talking about Dignitas when he was an AD carry. And then Biofrost, this guy, he's a beast.
Yep.
He's back on form. He's
They
killing it.
they
Playing
both
Zyra.
they both actually had 5 MVPs each. The only
Yep.
one was Zazel got 0 MVPs, and so did Sneaky.
To be fair, regular seasons Sneaky and
It
Zazel.
was rough, yeah.
It's not anything new to say that those two had. I guess you could say it was rough. It was very much like they were playing. They had to play defensive a lot just from how the team played and how a lot of enemy teams played into them
So with
and getting a
uh,
little camped.
yeah, so with that, let's talk about the finals. Actually, this is a finals
Nice.
podcast. 30 minutes in, pretty much. We're pretty good at timing. But yeah. So finals was quite enjoyable to be there. I will say the live performance. I didn't understand a single word that she said. I was quite confused.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been hearing nothing but bad stuff about the live performance.
Yeah.
I happened to miss it. So but I heard everyone saying how terrible it was. So I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I have no interest in watching it now.
Yeah.
Good.
I
I
just
don't know who this. I didn't know who this Jax Anderson guy was, and
female.
you know what? And it's like, you know what? I still don't care.
Like I'm pretty big.
I would have rather had Pobelter up there.
Yeah, I enjoy music quite a bit, and like I was like, oh wow, like it wasn't
That's something.
the band, like the music playing behind it wasn't bad at all. It was just that the song doesn't translate well. There's a lot of autotune in it, and like it's the same song as like some of the hype, or not all the hype, obviously, but one of the hype videos that they did, and it sounds much better. Like I like was listening. I believe it was the recap episode like of finals like or the playoffs or
Okay.
something like that. So like
No, I think they did like a full recap of like the whole split.
yes, that's what it
Yeah,
was. The
because they
whole
showed.
split.
I think they showed a video of that on podcast like right after the finals went off.
Yeah, so like the song itself, not bad. I don't think. I don't think it's too terrible, but it's like
Mhm.
the definitely studio produced. It was one of those situations where studio produced to live is a much different scenario.
Yeah.
Which so that kind of and the I think the audio issue with Riot because I couldn't hear like a word she said the whole time.
We would have rather had Mark Z up there
Yeah,
singing Silver Scrapes.
yeah, pretty much. But
We would have
anyway,
had a better reaction, I think.
anyway, game number one was like you said, all comfort for Tia. I literally turned. I was on fire. I'm gonna brag. I was on fire for both series with my pick bands. I was like LS up there. I'm like, okay, they're picking this. They're picking this. The only I did not catch the Vigar. I should have. I should have caught the Vigar, but I didn't. I was thinking. I was thinking something else, but I don't remember at the time. but but this team. It was easy on the Team Liquid side because this is a Team Liquid draft. If I had to pick
That's
blindly
like
a
the most.
Team Liquid
That's like the
draft,
most S tiered looking draft I've seen in a long time.
yeah,
It's literally okay. Okay, here's even if you just took names off and just said,
hmm
okay, here's a comp. You get Aatrox, Sejuani, Azir, Zaya, Rakan,
you're like,
and
oh,
it's like,
thanks for the free
well,
win.
it's like, well, I guess I have. Let's see, I have a lot of defense. I have a lot of engage. I have a good front line. I have siege. I have scaling, and I have good lane pressure,
Yeah, pretty good.
and I have split push
hmm
options,
And I think,
and I have dive.
I think
So
what
and then you
also
put liquid, then you
worked.
put liquid, then you put liquid players on it. And it's like, oh, it's Impact's Aatrox.
Yep.
It's well, I was gonna say Xmithy Sejuani, but he's kind of beat that meme recently.
Yeah.
Jensen going back to his ear, then double lifting Core JJ on Zyra Khan. It's like, okay,
Jensen
well,
had
we
a
can't.
nasty Azir game for being only 2-2-6. He had some good plays.
Oh yeah, I mean that's like one of his classic, like one of his classic picks. I don't think he's pulled it out too much in the split either.
No, he's been more on Akali and such like that. But
More,
I
more on
do
Corky.
yeah, Corky. I do
Yeah.
I like the concept of C9's draft. I don't like Karma Top. I hate that part. Hate that part.
That's
uh
a one. See, I would think if you took literally,
you
if you
take that
took,
out and you
forget,
put Kled in there instead.
yeah, or you know what? You know what else would have probably been good in this comp? A Camille.
Yeah. Yeah. That
I
works
mean, they
well.
already talk about because they even kind of memed about it afterwards, saying like, oh, double cage. I think they memed about. I can't remember if it was Reaper or whoever. Someone memed about it, said like double cage comp didn't work. Oh well, go next because they had Thresh and
Yep.
Veigar.
Yeah,
But
it's
I was like, why would you even first pick Karma?
yeah, it
Let
doesn't
TL
make
pick
sense.
Karma. You could punish that.
Yeah, you can
And,
punish it, and I think it's worse into impact because what Karma does is she's insanely annoying to lane against as a top lane melee. The issue is it's impact, who's like he lives under his tower. That is his space. Like you're not gonna.
it's like I will live here and I will farm and then I will get my black cleaver and then you can no longer do anything to me.
Yes, exactly.
Because either you build like stupid tank karma with Iceborne Gauntlet, and then you're just then you try to be like Q auto and annoy me forever,
I hate that
or
build. I
but then
hate that build.
but then you have like no damage,
Yeah.
you have no scaling on your support abilities, you have nothing, or you build full AP and then I just can kill you,
Mm-hmm.
or you build full support and I can just kill you. Or force you to group with your team, and then I just 4-1 and I split you to death, and you can't answer me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like, but I'm like, where was the Camille here?
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's
And,
like
and with the
that
way
gives you
that Zazel
pressure.
was playing too, the
Yeah.
lanterns were really good for Svenskeren. So Svenskeren had a rough game, by the way. He got read like a book by Xmithy in this game,
Mhm.
and Jensen just the mid jungle
Yeah.
situation. He would have been like 0-9 without those Thresh lanterns.
Yeah.
But
Zazel was like desperately trying to keep C9 in this game.
oh yeah,
It was actually nuts. This dude was like actually carrying.
yeah, I agree. But,
Support carry.
yep.
This is why 80 carries don't get player of the game.
Apparently not. But just to briefly, oh, what did you have? one more thing to say about that
No,
one? I
that
was gonna
no,
move on.
that's about it. I mean, I could harp on this freaking top karma pick, but
Yeah,
it's just like,
but
I mean, you're basically taking, and not just that, but you're basically saying, okay, here, Licorice, take karma, play into Aatrox, get Kleptoprox on Aatrox, and and you're basically saying like, okay, we're never gonna play to you, so just take this pick and try to win lane. And it's like, okay, you've completely defeated the purpose of this. This is like when people would do this stuff against like GP,
yep,
and you're not even talking about like a Kennen.
yeah,
And speaking of which, Kennen wasn't banned. He could have just taken Kennen,
yep. There's so
and he
many
could have,
better options. Not
yeah.
Victor though. Victor would have been a
Or I
worse
guess if,
option.
or I mean, if you really wanted to be defensive, I'd love having like Zazel looked really good on the Thresh, so I probably wouldn't change that. But like, if you really wanted to, you could have saved the top lane counter like you should have on
Hmm.
red side, and instead of just like, okay, we're gonna flex, and we'll get to this in the game 5 discussion on draft because the same thing popped up there that I
Yeah.
don't agree with,
Hmm.
and with how they use the Aatrox pick. Um, but they could have easily just saved their solo lane pick for last on red side. They could have taken something like the Kennen into Aatrox. You could have taken something like not even going 8. Like I would have preferred 80 Kennen over Karma
Yeah.
because at least
Yeah.
the 80 Kennen could 1v1 the Aatrox.
Yep. Yep.
But then it's like then or you could have just been like, okay, we're gonna take Sivir and Karma, and it's like, okay, well we have shield and a lot of speed in bot lane.
Yeah. And
Okay, like there's not as
cool.
much playmaking, but you have a lot of, okay, we're gonna run at you or we run away, and then we'll just kind of pick fights where we want to, and then we can split push with like Camille or a Kennen or something like that, and make you have to come into us
Yep. But
or make you answer our side lanes.
it
But
just it all
this
at the
is
end of the day it just did not
yeah
happen at all.
yeah it's one of the things where it's like I look at this comp from C9, I'm like, what do you do? Like you,
Hmm.
you hope to God you get a Thresh hook or a Veigar and you pull them into a cage and then you burst somebody. But as soon as the Quicksilver sashes and the Banshee and like Jensen was really smart, he like rushed Banshee's Veil on
Hmm.
Azir. So now it's like, okay, well now you can't win
you
because you have
you can't
nothing
do
left.
anything. Yep.
Yeah.
You want to know it's a good comp though? Their game 2 comp.
Yes.
With they get the Kled instead of the Karma.
Oh my
All
God.
the booing.
I just looked at the score line, man. Freaking double lift
Yeah.
got the mark of the beast.
Oof. Double
Jensen
had
was
that
close.
amazing.
He just needed 5 more kills.
Yeah. Okay, so like while you were complaining about C9 with the Karma, where did this Vlad come from? And
Um,
can Vlad stop showing up on Team Liquid?
hey, hold on, dude. Like I said, game 5. We'll
Yeah.
get to
Oh
this.
yeah, yeah.
What in the
You have,
hell?
but like, why is Team Liquid picking Vlad here? It makes no.
Yeah,
You lose into Kled really hard. You also lose into Aurelia really hard. This was your
yeah.
final pick. Like what?
I don't understand that. I don't understand that.
Like
That was
if
just
if
bad.
you go for
He
counter
didn't.
pick, you don't counter pick yourself.
That's
You don't counter yourself 2 lanes.
Yeah. That's like a super comp too. That's actually a really good comp too from Cloud9.
Yep.
So much team fight power, and they actually have decent 1-3-1 too
Yep.
with Kled and Aurelia. Sejuani can play to both side lanes.
Yep.
Like
Licorice
as
had
long as
amazing flanks on the Kled throughout
yeah,
the entire game.
Licorice Kled. He's pretty good. Dude
Yep.
knows his limits, which is awesome to see. And frickin' Niski getting Aurelia popping off.
Yep.
But I feel like this was just the power of blue side in this game because like you had in the first game, TL they pretty much banned out like the mid lane and they just said, okay, we're taking away Gragas, Aurelia, Kiana.
Mhm.
And C9 was like, well, we have to ban Yumi because Yumi's stupid, and we had to, and we banned, and we don't like Corky, which I say right now they probably didn't need to ban Corky.
That's how
They
I
could,
felt about Team
they,
Liquid
I feel like
banning Gragas.
I feel like the Corky ban was unnecessary because I feel like you could definitely play around the Corky,
Yeah, I
and
agree.
especially because you picked Vagar. I mean, you've played the Vagar Corky matchup into Jensen specifically, and you solo killed the man. They even had Sejuani. It was the exact same mid jungle duo.
Yep.
Like you showed like the ability to play that. Like maybe Jensen learned it better, and I think Corky should actually have a better push early on against Vagar. But still, it's better than freaking Azir. Azir is super safe.
Yeah, and
But
I
anyway, that's
put
game. That was game one.
yeah, I'm shocked that like Team Liquid was quite confusing me. Like I'm like going through bans like okay, ban Akali, ban Aurelia, like ban like probably Kiana, stuff like that. They kept banning this Gragas, which I'm like maybe they know something I don't. Obviously, they have a lot more inside info, but like if I'm correct, Svenskeren Gragas is like his like fifth or sixth best champion.
Yeah,
like
I think
and it showed in
the issue.
game four, by
Yeah,
the way.
the thing with Gragas is that it can actually. It's just a generally.
Very.
It's a good pick
Hmm.
in general
Yes,
because it goes well with 80 solo lanes.
that is true. That is true because
Because then it gives
you
you
get
that mixed damage
AP.
profile.
Yep.
He has really good gank pressure early.
Hmm.
I feel like if you're gonna let
But you gotta hit the barrels, and
yeah,
that's
I'm
just a
saying like if you're
Garen
gonna go
issue.
with like Skarner or anything, Skarner and like Vladimir and stuff, like you could easily just let the Gragas through
like, how
because
does
those
Vlad work with
because they don't care.
Skarner? By the way,
I don't know. You
it
go
doesn't.
in.
I'm
I mean, just
infuriated.
you kind of just go in
Hmm.
and you hope. I really don't get the Vladimir pick.
I don't get it at all.
I don't get it at all. Like I maybe like you're talking about like the AP damage because Aurelia's like damage reduction thing, like it
Yeah, I
doesn't
mean,
affect
it
magic anymore. But
does.
yeah, but hey, like I said, freaking you have you have losing solo lanes, and then you and you have a bot lane, and your bot lane is the only thing you can really play to. But
And the
like, but they
safety
just
of Tom Kench or Varus, so it's
yeah
not like a
yeah
power lane.
it is a strong lane because he does have that push power,
Yeah, he
and
does have push over
if they ever try
Kai'Sa, but
yeah, it has a lot of poke, and you have like the tongue lash from Tom Kench can slow for a lot of Varus' skill shots, so he can just stack up blight and hit you with Qs, and it's a bad time. But when you have Braum down there, it actually makes it actually pretty
that's what I was
hard,
about to say. Like Braum absorbs all of that all the
it
way.
actually synergizes really well with Kai'Sa. And
Yep.
Zazel's Braum was looking really good.
Yep. Zill's Braum always looks good.
You love you love that synergy between C9's bot lane though. They
Hmm.
had almost the exact same kill participation.
Yep, 25 and
It was
22. So they were pretty much
yeah,
always with each other at all times.
Zazel
Uh,
freaking support carry,
I
but
want.
Niski was actually popping off on Aurelia though.
Oh yeah, the Aurelia was
He
disgusting.
was pulling off that sick long range stun. I think what did he
Yeah,
solo kill Jensen? I
he
think
solo killed
twice.
Jensen twice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was like the one time where like they went in a little deep in top lane, but then like Licorice was like just rolling in on Kled.
Yeah,
So even though they
it
like
worked
lost
out so
one,
well.
yeah, and they were like pushing with Rift Herald onto like the top in hit turret. I'm like,
Yep.
damn, dude,
Yep. It
what
was
a
a
and
lost game.
this made me think that it's like, oh man, I wonder if did Cloud9 just throw the first game as a meme because they wouldn't want to go up 2-0 and then risk the reverse sweep again.
well,
But
this was
yeah,
again. While I had the question for the Vladimir, I had just as many questions in game number 3 for Team Liquid. Giving Impact Renekton? When does Impact play anything like Renekton?
um, season 3, I
Yeah.
think.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
To be fair, Renekton was very meta and he was a world champion, so it's fine.
That's different.
To be fair though, Renekton into Aatrox is like
Is
actually a super good
I
matchup for
understand
Renekton.
that. I understand that.
As someday has shown, and
Hmm.
he is the Academy World Champion.
Yep.
He was smacking fools on Renekton.
Yeah, but Impact, I think of Impact of even though he's shown that he's not just a tank player. I know that. I know he can play Jason stuff like that. I see him as a more of a absorb pressure and like do stuff to like bring the enemy laner top to try and get you, but then you don't like you survive stuff like that.
Mhm.
Ranked is all about just going face first, like aggression, fight, like some
Yeah,
Impact plays more for like team or like not necessarily lane, but like late game. I feel like he usually gives up lane a bit, but like can survive enough in lane just off pure skill and like he's much better late game team fighter stuff like that. Like so like ranked is like the opposite of that.
yeah. And this is one of the things where like maybe Impact was popping off a little bit more on the Renekton in like scrims or
Yeah.
something, or maybe because we had Licorice just playing freaking Karma in game one, so
Yeah.
maybe they kind of affecting things a little bit. But I feel like if you're going to do that, they probably should pick maybe even pick something like the Gragas instead. because then you would have had that mixed damage. It would give you early game pressure. You could even look to snowball top lane. But I feel like that's another weird thing about that is like the fact that they actually took
Skarner
Renekton.
over.
They took, well, not even that they took Skarner. It's the fact that they took Renekton when they could have had impact on something like Kennen.
Yep.
Kennen again just didn't have anything here.
Yep. I
Like,
didn't get it.
and I know that they did have the fall off too. They had the nerfs to the range champions, but I mean, like I'm surprised like Jace, Nico, and Kennen, none of them had any sort of presence in this series.
No.
And when Aatrox was so like pretty much like guarantee pick man, and like literally the teams were pretty much just trading the pick back and forth. It felt like neither team actually had a good answer to Aatrox.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like whoever had Aatrox, like aside from like Licorice on Kled, because Licorice actually could play Kled really well. Like
Hmm.
neither of them did it, and then TL banned Kled. They
Yeah,
banned
which
Kled. Like
is
Aatrox fell to like second rotation of picks, and like Kled was banned.
Team Liquid was
That's
like, I'm
so.
not gonna take it, but I'm like, why? If you're not gonna take it, but like you're gonna put Impact's Aatrox pretty strong too, so if you're not gonna take that, you
Yeah.
better have something up your sleeve. And I guess that, like you said, it could have been working out in scrims with his rank team, might have been just dumpstering Aatrox's,
Mhm.
but it didn't work on stage. And this was more infuriating to me because it was right after Vlad. I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing? Vlad has always been bad for Team Liquid since the last 2 years. Like every time I see Vlad, I'm like, oh no. then
Yeah.
then
I
Atra
will say
or
this though too.
Renekton.
I will say this though
Mm,
too. The I don't because I think the Renekton pick can actually can be pretty decent
mm-hmm.
into it's somewhat into C9's comp because C9 has a lot of melees.
They do.
So he can get a lot of value like on his rage empowered skills, and he can kind of just run in and kind of just be annoying and be a just big frontline and let Kaisa do things. But I feel like in a vacuum, like these picks actually this comp actually looks pretty good for TL, but you
Yeah.
have to play around it in a certain way. And Jensen's Akali was actually pretty scary. But I feel like that was another thing too. It's like and that was something that was giving me worry going into this series is that even though Ruin didn't have the best performance on Akali in the CLG series,
He was still
he
doing.
seems yeah he was still like he was able to zero out like the back line at least one carry every time he died,
That's all.
and it
Your
pretty much
job,
took
pretty
that
much.
yeah, it pretty much took the entire C9 team had to immediately switch and kill him, which always left like Sticks like if they didn't kill Stixay first, it left Stixay up on like carries like Caitlyn and stuff
Mm-hmm.
to just put out damage because they couldn't afford to split focus anymore. So Jensen was doing his best to carry double lift and Core JJ. They were doing well because I mean like those two like Kaisa's definitely a double lift champion in my opinion.
Oh God,
Core
I love Kai'Sa's or double of Kai'Sa.
Yeah, is Core JJ on an engaged champion like that. But then, of course, we had the epic return of Zazel's Alistair.
So clean, so clean.
I know. This is like literally waking everyone up. It's like, oh yeah, this guy was good. By the way, Core JJ wasn't the support that brought Alistair back. Zazel was doing this shit in summer 2018 at
Yeah,
Worlds,
yeah.
and
He
he was smacking
loves the
fools with it.
Alistair. He's really
Yeah,
good on Alistair.
what I found is what he's good at is that he's really good at finding flanks. Like
Yeah,
C9 in flanks. Like he'll use Hex Flash to find flanks in Fog of War, and he's actually really good at it.
yeah. And it helps you
But I
now because like an
yeah
Alistair flank is devastating.
yeah Niski on Silas popping off
Mm-hmm.
looked pretty good. Yeah, I feel like it's the Silas that was actually a pretty decent answer to Akali. I think that was kind of the thing in the series was that if TL got Aatrox and Akali or like something to that extent, it felt like TL was just in a really good position. And if C9 were like they were trying to like tempting the picks out and then taking counters,
Yeah,
like the Silas was a good answer because he even has like the whole like complete magic shield
yeah. So it
that
helped
can
really
cancel
well.
Kali in lane and then he can steal her ultimate as long as she doesn't get like too far ahead in like XP. Because there was like that point where for a little bit, Niski was like I think he was like level 5 because he kept trying to roam a little too much in the lane phase. So Jensen just stayed in lane and absorbed XP. So he was actually like level 6 and he was level 5, and I was like, oh man, if Niski steps up too much, like he could legit like, Jensen could actually just kill him. But he played it safe, got up to 6, so that if Jensen basically ever went in, he could just ruin him.
Hmm.
Where he forces out the trade too well, and he could just trade back with his ultimate. So, but I feel like if you're ever going to have again a 4 melee team with a with a Zaya 80 carry. The fact that again C9 just got Sejuani again, that's even more CC, even more engage. They have a lot of flexibility with their picks, so it's just a really good comp and actually a decent comp from TL as well. Like if C9 ever went too deep, you had a lot of counter engage. If you go in too deep, Rakan can come in, taunt you all, knock you all up. Renekton can stun somebody, Skarner can pull somebody, and then Kaisa can like ult in and do a bunch of damage. Akali can come in from the back. So if you ever try to go in too deep on this team, they could counter and just wipe you. But I feel like Cloud9 and kind of a big thing too was that it felt like they were executing a lot of times, even from losing positions, just really good in
Yeah.
fights.
Oh yeah,
They
they
were just
they, they were
like
playing really good games. Honestly, even game one a little bit, they were playing pretty well. They just like the comp wasn't there.
yeah, it felt like they had a really tight window on their comp, and that
Yeah.
was the problem. But they
Mhm.
were still doing what they could. Like
Mhm.
like Zazel was desperately trying to carry that team,
Yeah.
which is hilarious to say after the regular season.
Mhm.
But
So like the first
I'll,
three
I'll
games,
see.
they were real
Yeah,
solid. Even game
yeah, they
four,
were
to
like
be
looking
honest.
good, and
Yeah.
then we go to game four.
Yeah. Let's talk game four. Honestly, they were okay, but there was a lot of misexecutions here because I
Yeah,
thought when I'm watching this live, I looked over the Brime. I told him this game is over unless LeBlanc gets fed. That's the only win
yeah.
condition Team Liquid has in this entire
Yeah,
game
I
by the
I
drop
kind of
zone.
yeah. Jumping onto that, I'll say like the only like it's not just LeBlanc getting fed because I feel like it's almost like an Akali situation where it's like at the very least he can always double dash and kill like Sneaky,
Yeah.
and if Sneaky's dead, that's a lot. That's pretty much all of C9's DPS. So if
Hmm.
they ever were like, oh, we're gonna go try Baron, then no, you can't, not anymore.
Yep.
You're dead. But the other thing on top of that was like not just Jensen finding those picks was Niski if Kiana ever gets behind. If
Yeah.
Kiana can't get anything going, or he can never really find like the sort of like in the jungle around the terrain fights that they want, then they're probably
The pick
gonna
is
have a really
useless.
bad time. Yeah, she's gonna like if one that what I saw was like okay, Team Liquid is pushing into your base and you're Kiana, you're screwed. You have no terrain to work with anymore because your
Yep.
ultimate is useless now.
Yep. I also
So
like. I did want to point out what the hell was Impact doing in the first blood situation. What was that?
he was
um,
dead.
you
He
bet
was dead.
that he could have hit
He was
under
dead.
the tower. You could have
Now,
done
but no,
something.
the issue was that if he like literally Licorice could have just waited. He could have just waited until his passive came up, walked up, hit him with the buckler, and then got a shield and walked away. That was kind of the issue. He kind of knew he was dead no matter what. I think he was trying to bait Licorice into coming forward
Into
before
tower.
his passive was
Yeah.
up. But
Okay.
I think he knew he was dead otherwise. But hey, Licorice. I think this is Licorice's first game on Poppy this year.
Really? Because it
Well,
was.
I don't know. I don't maybe not in spring, but I know like he played against Broken Blade's Poppy.
Yeah.
And ironically he got solo killed.
Yeah, Poppy is a
So
menace. Poppy is quite strong. I thought,
yeah,
like I said, I thought
and
this game was over just because Poppy into LeBlanc is disgusting. I think that was one of the worst executions that they had
yeah,
by not keeping Poppy near Sneaky. So, like,
yeah,
LeBlanc shows up. I mean, they did
I,
catch Jensen twice, I believe, with,
yeah,
yeah, two times. And that worked out. Like, that one time was almost devastating, I
yeah,
thought, for Team
yeah.
Liquid.
It was a lot, and a lot of it did actually come down to Alistair.
Yep.
Like Zazel's Alistair was just kind of on point. Like he was always finding like random engages. Like he would like flash pulverize, but then like flash pulverize, hit three people, then headbutt someone into his team,
Hmm.
and then they would die.
Yeah, and
So it was actually and but I feel like the one thing with this team from Team Liquid is that they're actually really hard to catch,
oh,
and they're
yeah.
deceptive because like you have Aatrox, LeBlanc, and Ezreal all have escapes. Skarner, Skarner like you don't really want to engage on. If he builds Stone Plate, he's hard as hell to kill.
Yep.
Braum can jump back to an ally and he gets damage reduction.
I
So like
hated the Ezreal pick at the time because I was
yeah,
like, Poppy stops everyone outside of Skarner in this matchup because can stop Braum jump, can stop Ezreal jump, can stop LeBlanc jump, and can stop Aatrox.
yeah.
I'm like, this
But
Poppy's pick is
that's
so
the
good.
issue though.
Can't get
That's
to,
in like theory the W can do that, but the
yeah,
problem is like the Poppy has to get close.
yeah.
And
That's
if you're not using your Ezreal, like your blink until Poppy is like right in front of you, you're playing your champion wrong.
Yep, and honestly, he played excellently as well. That was also very
Yeah,
good.
that is the thing too with this comp is that the Kaisa isn't really going to come online, and there's not really a front line aside from the Poppy and the Alistair. Maybe they could try to buy you time, but when you're talking about like a Skarner who could just kind of flash into you, or an Aatrox who could jump onto you from the side, or LeBlanc flanking you from the side to just blow you up, Sneaky can never really get in to do damage
Yep,
on anybody.
yep,
He has to like ult aggressively and hope that he kills somebody. But then you talk about, okay, now you're going to try to 1v1 a mid game Ezreal with 3 items.
yep. And then LeBlanc is coming right back at you. You have
Yeah,
Skarner right behind you or in front of you now that's gonna try and
yeah.
run right at you. Aatrox also can smash, unless you're Cody's
So
son and you
yeah,
pull
and
that
again, this
sickle.
came down to a matter of Licorice. Like he played really well in the lane against the Aatrox, but and he did actually have some good like charge engages to stop a lot of it. But there was just way too much mobility and slipperiness from this team, and this is a C9 comp that almost requires you to get picks. You
Yeah.
need to find picks. You need to find catch people
I
in
mean the
rotations.
the setup though for the picks was phenomenal with the wall
Yeah,
hitting Gragas barrel, knock him to a wall with Poppy, Kiana ult him, Alistair knock
exactly.
him. Like the comp is genius, but
Yeah,
it didn't. It was a
yeah,
good comp. It just
but
wasn't
it's
executed.
it's one of the things where it is a good comp. It just requires a lot of execution, and
Hmm.
the enemy team has a lot of tools to get away from it,
Yeah.
and a lot of tools to hit back at you. And if you try to and if you ever pick like a wrong fight or you're not able to get that pick immediately, they could turn it on you instantly.
Hmm.
Like they blew like a lot of cooldowns. I think it was this game. They had to blow a lot of cooldowns under Core JJ to try and blow him up, and he's a
Yes,
Braum.
that was like
But he's a Braum.
right here in the river, or like right
Yeah,
around here.
yeah, it was like around Dragon, not Dragon, but Baron.
Baron. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Baron, like between the Baron and Raptor Pit, they like
Yep.
engaged on him. He like threw up his shield, got his damage protection, and it took him forever to die.
He didn't even
And,
die.
and yeah, exactly. And then like C9 like wasted a lot of engage power on that.
Yep, and then
So
they got picked off.
I
I
feel
believe that was a 3-for-0 or something like that.
yeah.
It
So
was one of
it's one of those
these.
things where it's one of those things where I mean, looking on the other side, look at like how the bands have kind of adapted themselves
Hmm.
in this game. Even look at like C9's bands. Like they still ban Corki. They ban Sona. Sona I can understand. Rakan I can understand because you want to keep Core JJ off the like engage because his Rakan has looked really good
Yeah.
even in losses. Like he's always been like the reason they can always find a way back.
Hmm.
Corki, I feel like the Corki
Man has
ban
a
at
skin
some
on
point,
it.
yeah. So I feel like at some point you can always drop the Corki ban. Like
Yes,
there's
I
no
agree with
reason to
that.
do that. And then if you look at and then in ban phase 2, they banned Saya and Sivir. After they banned Zaya after they already banned Rakan and they banned Sivir.
Yeah.
So I'm like the only thing you're looking for here is like you're expect because I'm like I don't even know if Double Lift has ever played Sivir or played Sivir in any sort of way that's like, oh man, his Sivir, we better watch
It's
out.
not reckless. It's not reckless.
Yeah, but then if you look on the other side, TL they dropped the Gragas ban. They
Hmm.
don't even care about it anymore.
And that
And
was
they and
that worked
instead
out
they
well considering Scaring missed like 4 or 5 ults that
yeah,
game.
and then look what they banned instead. Like notice how there's no Sejuani ban.
Hmm.
There's not even a single jungle ban. They pretty much bait the Gragas pick
Yep.
instantly.
Yep.
So there's no Sejuani. They've already banned Akali and Aurelia. So you've lost. So unless like Gragas is finding like really good early game pressure, he can't get anything done, and he didn't really in this game. Like
Hmm.
look at Kiana's scoreline.
Yep.
You know Kiana didn't do shit.
Yep.
So and then TL like they look on the other side. It's okay. Well, we first pick Aatrox and Skarner, so
Didn't agree
we'll
with that
always be,
Skarner one, to be honest.
yeah.
After the first two performances of Skarner, I'm like, what are you doing? It worked
I mean,
out, but man, I wanted
the way
Sejuani.
no, the way I'm looking at it is like, okay, I'm a Skarner. If these people ever go into me, I can pop Stone Plate. I can grab someone and drag him into my team,
Hmm.
and they'll just murder him.
I think it was
And the,
more
and
in
the,
the moment. The last game he went 1-7. I'm like,
well, he went 1-3. So,
yeah, he's still.
but it's like, but that's the point. At some point, you're just playing a role player, and you're a Skarner. You get a lot of like vision and just general control with your spires, and you can just farm and put up wards and just watch Gragas, because you don't care about being there to gank people. You're there to stop Gragas from doing anything in mid lane, and
Yeah.
he did. They couldn't get anything really done with
Mm-hmm.
him. And then they banned stuff like Kled, and they actually banned the Kennen and they banned Kled,
Yep.
and they took Aatrox. And the Poppy was good. The Poppy got a solo kill,
Two solo or
but then
not
But
two kills, but not two solo
yeah,
kills.
yeah, he got the solo kill on in lane versus the Aatrox, but it didn't really matter at
Nope.
the end of the day. And to be fair, a lot of it was like C9. They were able to find they were able to find a decent headway, but bot lane just had a better push early on. Just with the Ezreal Braum, just a lot of range, a lot of safety. Like you're never really going to get like a good engage onto that bot lane, so they just kind of get like a free push, especially when you know that C9 is going to be in mid lane for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
So so you're not afraid of like Gragas rolling up on you as Ezreal Braum. So then you so they had a lot of bot lane control, and because you didn't have like, oh, we have a Kled and a Kennen who, if they get a solo kill on Aatrox, wow, okay, they're just gonna run over this lane. It's over. Aatrox just gotta hope to be a team fight god at this point. And guess what? Poppy was good. It was pretty much just a secondary engage option. But when you're like only real damage options are a jungle Gragas, a Kiana who has like no items, and a Kaisa who can't actually auto attack people without just getting immediately blown up by LeBlanc. It actually became a lot more difficult to execute with this comp, and I felt like at some point it was just going to be almost impossible for them. They
Yeah.
would have had to wait till much later and would have had to get a lot more control than they did.
Yeah.
And especially I'm almost certain. I'm pretty sure this game. This is the game where they were pushing up on mid. They got the pick. They were trying to get like mid priority,
Mm-hmm.
and they end up walking themselves
And
into Impact.
yep. Yep.
Who was soloing the Mountain
Oh,
Drake?
that was so
The third.
sneaky.
Yeah, he got the third Mountain. No, Sneaky was on Cloud Nine, but he was soloing the third Mountain Drake, and if it fell for a bit, it's like, oh man, oh they're gonna go down. They're gonna try to pick off
Yeah.
Impact. They're just gonna kill him.
Yeah.
But no, they like walked in and then stopped,
But
and it's like they
do you want to know why?
yeah, and
I
then Impact just showed up. It's like
I
surprise.
saw I saw on Twitter. I did not. I'm not good enough to notice this, especially live at the stadium, especially in an anxiety-filled situation for me because this game was neck
Yeah.
and neck at that point. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, it was literally a 66 goal lead at that time for Team Liquid. To put it mildly, it was pretty even. But
Yeah.
I saw on Twitter that Xmithy actually popped Predator on Skarner in that backed C9 up because they didn't know where Impact was, so it
Yeah.
made them think that Impact was right behind them or something like that, where
Yeah.
Impact still had about a
He might have
thousand.
been he
Yeah.
might have been coming up from like the left or something.
Yep. In the
Or it might have been coming up from like the bottom part of the right side.
yep.
But he said he was just coming right up the river.
Yep, in the dragon, like as the impact or as the predator expires, the dragon
The
dies,
dragon died.
and then it was like, oh wait, what? And then all of a sudden they won the team fight.
They flanked themselves.
Yep, pretty much. And then with winning that team fight and having three mountains with that just instant burn on the Baron,
Yep.
and then they won the game off of that.
Yep. It was one of those. It was just another one of those cases of I'm not sure what these bans are from C9, and I'm not sure why you just gave up Aatrox. Because apparently, and again, they banned Kled and Kennen, so TL knew like, okay, this is what can kill us.
Mhm.
We don't want them to play it. You know what else would have been pretty good?
Karma top.
No, oh, it's close. It starts with the same. It starts with the same hard "k" sound. It's Camille. Camille probably would be pretty good.
Yeah, it would. I agree.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Because I mean, you want to talk about a solo kill that can just run over a lane.
yeah, Camille.
Can synergize pretty well with Gragas.
Camille.
Give you some more engage.
Camille.
It can actually kill somebody and
Camille.
stick to sticky targets that they can't get away. Let's put LeBlanc in the baby cage.
Yep.
And Ezreal. Guess
Yep.
what? Guess who can't get out now? All
not
right.
Camille.
And it's sad
Oh,
because
that's sad.
Licorice's Camille is actually really good, and I'm sad. He
Hmm.
has not played it once,
Well,
and he did not play it again.
yeah. So let's talk Game Five. So what
Oh
did they do in
God.
Game Five? They picked Vlad for you instead, and I originally when they banned Sejuani. I'm very happy with that Sejuani ban, and then I
Mhm.
believe Sven picked Jarvan, which I'm like, okay, his Jarvan pretty good, not this game, but his Jarvan's usually pretty good.
I think he has a really bad record on
Does
Jarvan
he
actually.
really? But
I think
his
someone
engages are nice, but maybe
I
it's
think no,
just
I mean like, I think like his actual game record on Jarvan is actually like really bad.
interesting.
I
Interesting,
don't
because
know. I'd have to look into it. Someone might have been trolling, but someone said that like, they like Sven is like all time 2 and 63 on Jarvan.
okay, that's not
I
true.
was like, I think you're trolling, but at the same time, I'm
Maybe
not sure
because
because in my issue doesn't even go as far as this because my issue starts at the first round of bans.
oh
First
yeah,
round, the most simple bans I've ever seen. Because Liquid again, they don't care about the Gragas ban in the first round. They don't. They're not going to bother with it.
yep. They
They ban Aurelia.
Fitzgerald just showed that he can miss four ults in one game, and you're like, okay,
Yeah, they
please pick
literally
Gragas.
they literally banned Niski with 3 champions. They banned Aurelia, Kiana, and Silas. They
Love those
banned them
bands.
all. But my issue is that okay, you ban Aurelia, Kiana, that makes sense. You ban C9 for some reason they save a Yumi ban for last. Like you
Weird.
ban Sona first, then you see them they've banned Aurelia, Kiana, and you banned Caitlyn second. And I'm like, what?
Didn't agree with that.
And then they banned Yumi, and then TL just gets a first pick Akali.
And you're like, okay, that's rough.
Yeah, they get first pick Akali, but the main issue is that TL's last ban was Silas.
Yeah. So
C9
now,
literally by banning Caitlyn second, they played themselves because now you either ban Akali because they took away your answer with the Silas pick, or you give them Yumi.
yep. And you don't want to give anyone Yumi.
And they could have easily just banned Sona Akali and Sona Akali Yumi,
Yep. I
and it would have and it would
100%
have been
agree with
fine.
that.
Then it's like oh, but then you say oh well they could have first picked Aatrox.
No,
Okay,
even to like just nitpicking on your order. You ban
yeah,
Yumi first. They ban or Team Liquid bans Aurelia. You ban Yumi. Team Liquid bans Kiana. You ban Sona. Team Liquid bans Silas. You know they are going Akali now. They just banned Silas and they have first pick. Now you can
exactly.
ban Akali. Like just the
Yeah,
fact that they saved Yumi for last is the worst part of it. Not even necessarily the
yeah.
Caitlyn part. Like because
Oh, I know.
I'm surprised that didn't get
Yeah, and
picked at
that's what I'm
all.
saying. That's what I'm saying. It was the order. It was
Yeah,
the fact
the
that they could have
order.
easily just did. So they could have done what they were doing. Just go went like Yumi, Sona. Okay,
Yep.
what are you gonna ban?
Yes. You
And I
see
think
that
like
Silas ban, you're like, okay, they are going Akali. Like
yeah, but
100%.
here and I think the issue here is that okay, well, they're gonna pick a. I think what they're trying to say is like okay, they're gonna pick Akali. Well, we're gonna trade and we're gonna get Aatrox this game
Hmm.
because otherwise, if we ban Akali, they
They
get
get Aatrox.
Aatrox, and we
Yes.
don't really get a trade. And I'm like, well, my issue is that you. What my issue is that you're stupid. You don't need to do that. You've shown that you can pick into Aatrox.
Yes.
You've
And
shown that you can. And
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 look
by
what
the way,
Poppy did
look
to
what
it. It shut it down for a
yeah,
long time.
and look what wasn't
Clyde.
banned this game. Yes, the pick that you beat the Aatrox with. You beat it with this pick,
Yep.
and you could have picked Kennen, and you could have picked freaking anything. You could have picked Kennen, Kled, or Camille. All a bunch of k sounds. Not all, they're all even close. I know one of them starts with a C, but you literally had so many other picks that you could have gone into. Pick a Nico. I would have picked Jace. I would have rather seen anything. Give yourself something to
Hmm.
pick. You
Hmm.
literally did the same thing that you did in the first game.
I love
Whereas
that.
instead of having a pick that you can't play around, that's just meant to get like a couple hundred gold lead based on klepto, and then does nothing for the next 15 minutes of the rest of the game, basically. And instead of this time, you have a champion you can't play to, but they can't do anything until 30 minutes in the game.
Yep. Yeah.
And
That.
literally has
Oh.
like the only playmaking you have on this champion doesn't come until you get at least 2 items. And
Hmm.
meanwhile, and then of course, like Team Liquid just completely play you
Yeah.
because now you've literally given up an engaged, a double F champion, Corey
Yeah.
JJ's
Double
recon,
also gets
Jensen's,
Kaisa
yeah,
and Of course, they got Rakan
Yeah,
the very
and
next
then
round.
Jensen gets his comfort with Akali. You now it's like, okay, so what are your answers? You pick Aatrox, you pick Xayah. I'm like, okay, well, first of all, I respect the Aatrox pick. Sneaky Xayah left a lot to be desired, even in the game they won with it.
But honestly, even you pick the
Yeah,
Zai to force them to pick Rakan, and I'm like,
yeah, but
okay.
it's like, why would? But and I understand because I'm thinking like in theory you can always be like, okay, we'll pick Xayah Alistair because I'm like, okay,
Yes.
that's fine. You won with the pick, and Zazel's Alistair was good, but the problem is now that you have a mid lane. You took mid lane Aatrox, and I don't know. Maybe
At
I'm
the
just
time, it
stupid.
was still flexed. I was still thinking of his
Exactly.
top, but like,
Yeah, but then they take Vladimir, and I'm like, okay, what is this supposed to do? You have a
mm,
solo lane Aatrox and a solo lane Vladimir, and you know there's a solo lane
Akali,
Akali.
yeah,
So
Akali
you mean that
dumpsters Vladimir.
exactly? So and like she like you if you try to swap to Vlad mid Akali, you're trolling, and if you try to put Akali versus Aatrox, you're trolling because Aatrox like doesn't even have like the reset to get a revive. As soon as Akali hits 6, she could just kill him.
Mhm. Mhm.
Just straight up, and then she just jump in her W shroud, and then you can never. And then he like has to hope he hits her
Yep.
because if you don't, guess
You're.
what? You're screwed.
Yep.
She's just gonna keep throwing Qs, and then you die.
Mhm. And I will say
And
I
then
wasn't a fan of the Zinzao pick when that Team Liquid picked it fourth
they picked
until the Shen. I'm like, that I literally was
not
like, oh my god, this is the game.
not even just that, but now you're talking about this is literally the TSM game all over again. And I don't know if Cloud9 thought they could just get away with it because they somehow got away with it in that game, but they picked essentially two losing solo lanes in a Jarvan jungle.
Yeah.
So
Good
now
luck,
people can
Jarvan.
talk about like yeah, and I know they definitely misplayed that mid lane play
Yes.
with no question. But it's like you should never ever put yourself in that situation where you are literally talking about you're being pushed into both of your solo lane turrets, and you have an early game jungler, and your early game jungler literally has nowhere to go
Yep. And honestly, even
except for bot lane.
and
And
they
then
were
if you
getting
try to go
pushed
bot
in.
lane, yeah, because you're talking about yeah, because if you ever try because they know that their jungler won't be there.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then Xin Zhao can just go wherever the fuck he wants.
Yep.
And then not just that, if you ever try to get a pick on them,
Level
with
6.
Jarvan or Alistair, guess who's in top lane just split pushing and can join you at any time.
Because Vlad has no CC. Can't stop it, no matter where
Yeah.
he is.
He has, and then Shane could just completely just itemize. He went like Titanic Hydra first, so he could just constantly push the lane.
Yep.
And if they ever try to engage on Kaisa, Kali, or anybody, or if TL ever decided, oh, we're gonna go in on with Xin Zhao, Kaisa's gonna go in, Rakan's gonna go in, Akali's gonna go in. C9 they can't fight back because as soon as they try, Shen's coming in.
Yep.
And guess who's not going to be able to? And guess who's going to be coming in on their side? About what 5 seconds later, Vladimir. Vladimir with 1.5 items.
Yep.
Good
And
luck.
in 5 seconds of a team fight, that's your team is
5 seconds of a team fight with Rakan, Zinjao, Akali,
yes. So
Kaisa.
you're instantly
It's
gonna
over.
have two people dead, and now Vlad is in a
Yeah,
1v5.
yeah. And here comes Rakan. He's going to taunt your entire team, and then Shen's going to come in on top of him, and he's going to taunt your entire team. And then Xin is just going to dash in, and Xin and Akali dash in, and then Kaisa just cleans up.
Yep.
It's over.
Yep.
The comp was completely smashed, and it's like C9 for literally at the beginning of the series and the end completely trolled the draft.
Yep.
Completely trolled it.
Gave
They
Team Liquid
completely
so much
complete
comfort.
yeah, they completely lost themselves. They came into the series, they had like 4/5 of a good draft and then screwed themselves with their top lane pick because even though, like we said in the other semifinals matches, we've already seen top lane Karma do jack in the games. And
Uh-huh.
like, it's not just one time; we've seen it twice in game
Twice.
five. In game fives,
Yep.
we've seen it,
Yep.
and it did nothing. It did nothing but do nothing, and yet you still pick it, and then you get away from it, and you pick something that fits your wheelhouse. That's comfort for your players, and it fits your style and it has cohesion with the rest of your team. What in the hell is this?
Yeah, this was
What is this?
this was
Unless Team Liquid is literally running it down and they never use like any of their skills, you never win fights. Never.
yep,
You can't even look for fights. C9 is like a team that's meant to look for scraps.
yep.
They've been out
They
team
had the
fighting
LPL style of, and
yeah,
then
they've been out team fighting Team Liquid even in losses.
yes.
So, but then you literally took away all of their tools.
Yeah, yeah. Like,
They,
oh
they
well, team fight, Team Liquid at 35-minute mark. Okay,
yeah.
well the game's going 31 minutes in, and we have your Nexus by then. So,
hmm
like, yeah, we don't worry, we got the
So,
Vlad late game, but we're not gonna make it too late game. Like he got 3 items,
so
which is the peak, but unfortunately, that third item was like when you're down 12k or like hell, they were
it,
down 17k gold, but like it was
yeah,
like
they're down
14k.
there, and like all of their all like I think like all but one of their Nexus turrets, all three
Yep,
inhibitors,
and then you got the third item. Like,
everyone's
well, this
dead.
is you scaled, you got there,
Yeah,
but
but that's what I'm trying to say is that look at this comp.
hmm
This is what happens to this comp, and this is what's going to happen to this comp as soon as you get to Worlds.
yeah, it's gonna.
No team, no team is going to let you get away with this.
hmm
Not G2, not anyone from the LPL,
Especially
not
G2.
not even not even especially not SKT.
hmm
They're not going to do that. Griffin might, but then they'll probably pick something goofy and then still beat you.
Yeah, and
Who
Griffin's late
knows?
game team fighting is absurdly good.
Yeah. So like you're never gonna like this is like something like Splice would laugh at you for trying to pull this mess.
And yeah, that's
Like
Splice.
like we're saying we're just gonna sit in our base and wait for a late game team fight, and they're gonna be like, okay,
hmm
yeah, that's you're bad. Like and that's the saddest thing is that like C9, you're talking about a team that went from smashing games 2 and 3, completely smashing them
hmm
in less than 30 minutes.
Yep, and playing competitive
20
in game 4 as well.
exactly. And like there in like game 3, like there was that's a 25-minute stomp.
Yep.
That's nuts. And that's and like you're not even talking about this, but then you're talking about the Vladimir pick and the Karma pick that we're talking about. The Vladimir Jensen just played it. He played it in game 2
You
in this same
you got to
series.
see what Vlad does right now.
Yeah, so yeah, you got to see what Vlad does. Does nothing and gets killed. He
hmm
gets like freaking like Licorice is almost getting killed by Shen.
Yeah, it is
So
Impact Shen. That's it.
what
It
is
is.
I understand that, but it's like I understand you don't want to buy, but that's like saying like, oh, I'm almost getting solo killed by Impact Singed.
Yeah, it's
But
also a
it's like
very spicy pick. I love Impact
exactly.
Singed.
But you know who else has played that? Licorice.
Yep. Yep.
Licorice has played Shen and he's played Singe. He's basically just becoming like another Impact. So he's like a Aatrox one trick.
hmm
He could play he like played Shen and he played Shen and friggin' Singed at Worlds. He can easily play these champions, but then he'll also play Hecarim top and Kled.
uh, dude.
So, but and yet he is on Vladimir.
Yep.
I
Give
don't
him
even
Vlad.
get it. I don't understand what C9's fascination with Vladimir. I know I sent this text to you on Discord like after the finals was over, and I was like, the return of C9 Vlad. I was so upset at seeing this pick. I knew the game was over because TL.
I feel you. I mean, it's the same with Team Liquid Vlad. It's terrible. it's,
I just don't want to see it.
maybe it's
I don't
NA
want to see it
Vlad.
anymore.
Maybe it's our new NA Jaces, NA Vlad.
I know. I know.
Because
I'm
I've
just.
seen people like Fofo pop off on it in LMS, but that's
Mm,
completely different. And it's also mid lane, but it's like completely different.
yeah. I don't know if I'm like for maybe I'm just like a stand for Camille, but I'm like, man, what is the Camille matchup into Shen? Because I feel like she at least can like fight his split push better.
Better than Vlad, yes, but it's a harder matchup because he's just
Yeah.
bulky. He
I just feel
does.
like I feel like Reaper just completely lost the plot in this draft phase.
hmm
I don't understand the Caitlyn. I don't understand why it was even banned.
Yeah,
I feel like that's completely unnecessary. I feel like if you're afraid, I feel like if you're afraid of the freaking Caitlyn over the Aatrox over Impact's Aatrox, and when Doublelift hasn't even played Caitlyn in the series.
yep. That was my issue with that. Like I think
Hell,
Caitlyn is
hell,
such
in
a
game four,
strong.
yeah, game four they banned freaking Zaya and Sivir and round two to try to pinch double
I
lift.
would have taken the Caitlyn. When I saw Sivir, I was saying, okay, ban Caitlyn here because I think Caitlyn is one of the strongest ADC. I was shocked that Caitlyn did not get played at all. But like, in like,
Yeah,
this was not the one. Like, I preferred the ban Caitlyn. Not here, not here. Like, this is a second round
yeah,
ban.
yeah. And like they try to be cute, and they like we're gonna ban Skarner and Trundle because you banned Gragas and Sejuani,
Mhm.
haha. And we took the Jarvan. Oh, what you gonna do? It's like surprise, it's Zinjao.
Yeah, I was thinking it was gonna be
I'm like,
Rek'Sai.
I'm like, dude, did you forget that freaking that Zinjao exists? You just played it in the first game
Well, it didn't work
when
out
you
very well.
lost.
It didn't work out very
Exactly.
well. So like, they're not gonna
So,
play it. I really thought they were
so
gonna pick Rek'Sai at the
yeah,
time, and I was
and
like,
that's
ooh.
one of those things where it's like this has been 5 years, and I know I'm a C9 fan.
Mhm.
I'm probably just extra salty because it was my team, and it's like, oh well, this set could have easily been won. And it's something I've even been saying like ever since I joined was that if you're talking like pure highest highs of all teams, I feel like C9 is the best team in North America. They showed it in this series. They showed that at their when they're at their best, when they have a fucking comp with a brain, and when they're executing, they are the best team. They're a top team without
Mhm.
question.
Mhm.
But it's when they but then they take shit like they either they have these random games where they just it feels like because game four I'll give the TL every day of the week because that's a game where C9 did well, but TL did
Game
better.
four was
They
amazing.
did,
On like just
yeah,
a game
yeah,
by game basis, game four was just amazing by both teams. I thought we both
yeah.
played very
That
well,
was just a
very
yeah,
fair
that was just
game. Like,
yeah, it was one of those things where C9 had good plays, C9 had bad plays, TL capitalized on the bad plays and won out because of it. They played to the strengths of their comp, they capitalized on mistakes, and they won that game. And that's a fair game, and I'm not even mad about it
mhm.
because it's like that. I'm not mad about it. I'm mad about I'm mad about comps like game one because if you're talking about if game one you don't have something like a Karma top, even if you took something like an AP Kennen top lane an AP Kennen
Deep
with a
fight.
Xinjiao, and a Vagar and a Thresh,
There's a
you
lot of
literally could
AoE.
you could literally force people away from the cages, and then Kennen just comes in from behind, and with his ultimate and says, "Okay, get stunned by me or get stunned by this cage."
Yeah.
Or and then die no matter what. Like and like that's just like how do you miss this? I'm an unranked player and I can be like, why wasn't this played? Why did you go with this? Why Karma?
Mhm.
Because wow, go fast. Because
Zoom
wow,
zoom.
go fast. Yeah, let's put one of our best carry players for the past 2 years now on a support. You didn't even put the support on a support. You put the support on something that's closer to a carry than your top laner.
Oh,
So
it's frustrating.
it did feel like a battle of A champions, Aatrox and Akali in this series. It did come down to exactly what I was thinking of was like if C9 does not have C9 was having a hard time with Ruins Akali and Jensen was showing that he could really hard carry on Akali.
Yeah.
If and they showed that they had an answer to Akali, but they
Yeah, just
didn't
Silas.
recognize but then they tried to be cute like they
Mhm.
did in game 1, like they've tried to do a lot of times in the past
And they did it
with
again in game
certain
five.
picks. Yeah, and not just even game 5, they've done it many times in the past where they thought they had answers and they even said so much like, "Oh, we're gonna let we let like Yumi through on certain games, and we let um Sona lanes through, and because we wanted to see if we had answers that could work to beat them, and blah blah blah. And that's why we dropped some games." But I'm like,
That's okay in the
so
regular season. It's not
yeah,
okay
and
in
I'm like,
game five of the finals.
I know it was sketchy in the regular season because people were complaining about your seeding and stuff, but that's whatever. You still made it to finals. So what is this?
What is good?
We literally haven't seen Niski on Aatrox since week 2 of spring.
Yeah, it's been a long. I was gonna
And
say I don't
yeah,
remember Niski
yeah,
playing Aatrox.
he played it week 2 of spring versus Who He when he was on a 100 Thieves. That's how long ago it was. And to be fair, he smacked him. But
It's
it was
also
also
who
Who He.
on
But it was
100
also Who
Thieves.
He. I don't even remember what Who He was playing, but he like solo killed him in lane. So
Aurelion
But
Sol.
that was like he really, yeah, no, it wasn't Aurelion Soul because he probably would have solo killed Niski because I don't know what
That's
what
true.
happens to who he when he plays that champion.
Yeah.
But it's
Got
one of
to
those
figure
things
out
where
a
it's
way to
like,
make it to support.
yeah, it's like okay, so that's game one and game five. You have Licorice on a champion where he either can't do anything, he has no play, he has like no playmaking, or in this case, he has like no ability to play make until like 30 minutes. You have you have an Aatrox in mid lane where Niski didn't look nearly as comfortable on, versus an Akali who could just versus in a matchup where he's getting pushed in and can get killed if he ever steps out of line. Versus like especially with the mid jungle duo, you have the bot lane who can't play up, who
Mm.
can't look for anything because their jungle has to play is trying to play mid to get to try to do something. And then you have a jungle who can't play anywhere because everywhere is pushed up.
Yep. Yep. That's always the
It's and he
worst.
can't not just he can't play anywhere, but he ever tries, he will probably get killed.
Which he
Case
did.
in point,
1-7.
or he literally is just stuck doing nothing in his jungle, and that's exactly what Xin Zhao wants because he could probably find and just kill Jarvan if he ever tried.
Yep. Because Halo
So,
Blade Zinzao is OP.
so it's and then
Early.
if he gets
Early.
and then the scaling, it's like the only thing that can ever hope is like if Vladimir gets like 3 items.
Yeah, that
That's
was
the only.
it
But they,
was the same as
yeah.
Team Liquid in Game 4, a little bit. Not a much worse team comp though,
Oh
but
no.
where much worse team comp, but in the sense that the only real win condition Team Liquid had was to be slippery and for LeBlanc to get fed. Because if LeBlanc doesn't get fed, then Licorice doesn't have to buy any like
Yeah.
MR, nothing like that. This was literally Vlad has to get fed. It has to scale because we have nothing else.
Yeah. Either we literally have to stomp Jensen into nothingness
hmm
so that Aatrox gets fed, and then if Aatrox gets fed, then we could do something in the bot lane, and then maybe do something top lane.
Yeah.
But it's like you literally just played yourselves, and it's one of those things where my hope as a fan is that they literally see this and recognize this is garbage.
They
We
don't
should
play it at
never,
Worlds.
yeah, don't play this. Or if you're gonna play this, play well. First of all, play it without Vladimir. Play get like you, because I know this is something that I was like brought into the cast because it was the same sort of thing where I was ragging on draft strategies and priorities. It was the same thing back then, where where C9 in particular would randomly just draft weird things that just go completely not only against their own identity as a team that they've shown has worked well for them, but they've done it that's completely against the meta that's been defined since Worlds last year.
Yeah,
That,
the
that's been
meta.
it's literally been all about your solo lanes, your ability
hmm
to push, and hell, you've even made it a point where like Niski isn't like the most lane dominant mid, but his main deal is that he can get the lane pushed. He knows how to he can put vision down.
Yep.
He gets roams off to the side
Yep.
lanes.
Yep. Yep.
He goes with his jungler to get other things going. It's about your side lanes. So why exactly are you picking losing lanes and hoping to just pray and scale? To like even the game like when they played against CLG and they were poking the Bronze Zodiac comp versus a 1-3-1 with Corky and Jace, and they like had like the Sona lane to just push to just hold mid lane, and then like the only way C9 could ever win is if they pushed up. But meanwhile, they're all of their both of their solo lanes were constantly pushed under turret, and they had no way to even attack the Sona lane effectively.
hmm hmm
So it's just I don't even get it. Even Wiggly was giving him crap about the Bronzodia. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I
but I feel
mean,
like
it was
they need
still
they,
a good year at the end of the year for Cena. It is very disappointing. I get that, but
yeah,
I actually think that Team Liquid and C9, depending on group, it's always tough with groups, and especially with China.
it's it's all RNG,
It
baby.
really is. Like if you think about Worlds,
It might actually be RNG depending on how they do.
that is also true. But it's especially with the three China teams. I think I'm terrified the most of that region. G2. That's I was very excited. Team Liquid will not have to face G2 in groups. So
Unless
unless yes, but
unless Rogue makes the run.
unless a rogue makes a
Rogue,
run, just like
Rogue,
Billy, listen, if Billy makes a run here and like knocks Fun Plus Phoenix down, does Fun Plus Phoenix do they get second off of points? I don't know how it works yet
I think it
technically.
depends. I think it depends on how they finish out.
Yeah. So
They might
imagine
have to play their regional
imagine this
qualifier.
for C9, by the way, just off of a terrible your Billy team upsets FunPlus,
Hell yeah!
and FunPlus somehow gets into regionals and wins there, and C9 gets G2, C9 for the 2 seed, and FunPlus Phoenix for the 3rd seed. I know you guys
And
have
then the,
gone through groups depth, but
oh, and not even talking about the third seed, because imagine if we get the Korean third seed.
yeah, really, just like
Because
oh.
don't forget, we got one of those coming.
Yeah. Well,
Someone does.
those don't. The Korean 3rd seed does not scare me as much as it should.
I
Even
mean,
if
it
it's
might.
even if it's Damwon or Sandbox, I think their mental is very fragile. I think that SKT terrifies me the most out of Korea. To be fair,
Yeah,
and Griffin terrifies me a little bit just because they have potential to be so good, but they just mental boom quite often.
yeah.
But it's
I
all
think
those
I
young
think
teams in
Griffin.
Korea.
I think Griffin. I know you'll probably talk about this more when you go into the Korean podcast, but
Hmm.
I feel like Griffin kind of limped into playoffs a little bit. Like they definitely pulled together, but they did not look good against some of the higher up teams
Yes.
going into playoffs. I think SKT is going to smack the crap out of them.
I think it's going to be a repeat of spring as well.
I think
But
they're just going to completely smash them, and Griffin is like. Griffin, thankfully, they got enough points to get
mhm.
to go to Worlds, but I think like they're going to look. I feel like even if you look at like second seeds, I think probably look maybe only a step above. They'll look like a step above C9 and maybe on par with like a Fnatic.
Yep, I would agree with that. And LMS is going to
Because
be a
I think,
free win
yeah,
anywhere. J Team's the only team that can possibly make a run. Same with Vietnam. I probably would say just Gam if they get 1st seed would probably be the only
mhm.
one to watch out because Levi at
But
Worlds.
what about INTZ?
No, I'm
Are they
I
going to make the run?
for my
They're going to
Brazil.
win
If
Worlds.
we have like one Brazilian fan out there, I am sorry, guys. I am so sorry that Kaboom lost to INTZ, and now they're facing Flamingo. And I know deep down, I'm gonna pick Flamingo. The spoiler alert for Friday. I'm
Nice.
picking Flamingo.
Hell yeah.
I know deep down it's not gonna. It's gonna happen again, and they're gonna get smashed again because they're like the 5th place team in Brazil out of the like 10 teams in Brazil. They're like mediocre, and they just make these miracle playoff runs, and I don't
Hey,
know
hey,
how.
man, to be fair, you know who else is a fifth seed?
Hmm.
Rogue.
You're correct. Hey, if
What seed? Wait, what seed was Billy Billy? No, they were fourth,
Billy
weren't
Billy's
they?
a 4th, you got close. You
That's
got
what I thought.
close.
Yeah.
But
Who
yeah,
was fifth? Was that EDG? What,
EDG
I was like, was it
probably.
EDG or IG? I think IG just
IG was
barely.
7th.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought they like barely scraped in, and
Sunning.
they lost. Sunning was okay. Man, Sunning was a disappointment.
Yep. Yep.
They got hard smacked by EDG.
Yep. And I
But
was. But
but
yeah.
yeah, I will say if you want to talk about groups, imagine Team Liquid going into a group and they end up with like it's like Team Liquid and RNG
Tough matchup.
and Fnatic, and then oh man, I
There's
guess
so
we'll
many
do
good teams going to Worlds.
and then we'll do Damwon
Yeah.
because we put Showmaker in there.
Yeah.
God, could you imagine that group? You want to talk about group
No.
of death? But the thing is,
No.
that's still plausible with like
It's totally.
C9's group. It's crazy
Yep.
because
This
it'll be like you could do like SKT C9. Oh no,
G2 or
probably would.
yeah.
Fun Plus because Billy's gonna win, and then
Yeah.
I guess I guess Rogue.
Oof, that would see like it's just like outside of the
That's the
LMS
thing, dude.
teams, anything
Like,
in J. I will exclude J team. The other two LMS teams and probably the two Vietnam teams, even though I love Gam a lot. Even J team to an extent. I like J team a lot. I'm really hoping they show
they're
up.
definitely underdogs when it
They're
comes to any of the
the
other major
rest of the
regions.
major regions are bringing a lot of
I
talent in
mean,
the top 2
you're
seeds minimum.
you're literally comparing J Team to Top and RNG
And
and Fun
G2 and
Plus and
FunPlus and
G2 and
Fnatic,
Fnatic
Team
and Billy
Liquid.
Billy, the world champions, the uncrowned kings of the
Yep.
world,
Dude, I hope. I
and
hope.
Clutch Gaming.
If Billy Billy makes worlds, I'm rooting for Billy Billy. I love Billy Billy.
That would be amazing. I would love that so much. It'd be hilarious. I just want to see a final. My dream final. It would be Billy Gaming versus Cloud9. It would be the most
You win either way.
hilarious.
You win.
It'd be yeah. It would be like the least hype. They go 2-2 and go into game 5. They just go and shake hands. They all dance in the mid lane. and they just run it down, and they both become world champions. It'll be great.
That's great. I hope
Then
that
technically,
happens.
sports is ruined forever.
Oh man.
Yeah.
But with that, we're gonna wrap up this podcast today. Thank you guys so
Yeah.
much for watching. Sorry if I look really tired this one. If you're watching, I'm pretty sure I love this podcast. I'm just really tired, so I was like yawning as well. I was really into it though. I was. I
Got to hear the
promise.
salt come out.
Yeah, I promise.
You
But
should
yeah.
have heard me yesterday, man. I was in such a bad mood.
Oh yeah,
But
I bet. But yeah, thank you
yeah.
guys for coming to watch, and we'll see you tomorrow for LCK, where we'll talk finals for Griffin and SKT. So that'll be
Oh,
fun.
by the way,
Hmm?
predicting 3-0 SKT, and then next week for Clutch Gaming, I'm gonna go Clutch Gaming 3-1 over FlyQuest.
Ooh, already predicting for next week. Let's
Well, yeah,
go.
because I probably won't be here because I'll be
Got
on
it.
work.
Makes sense.
Unfortunately, putting on record.
Getting on
I
record
almost, I
early.
almost, I almost want to do 3-2 FlyQuest because I feel like Clutch
Don't do
might
it.
choke again.
Oh god, that would be terrible.
That would be the most disappointing thing for Clutch that they
Mhm.
literally lose their last two. They lose all of their last two to progressively worse teams.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be, but the sad thing is I wouldn't be surprised.
Not too
But
much.
I don't want to see Hooney cry. I think they'll handle it.
I think they'll handle it as well. But yeah.
It'll be more of like it'll be more like a TSM series, their
Yeah.
first one.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you guys for watching,
Yep.
and we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.